Hello and welcome to this presentation called D-Zink-C. My name is Ossian, I'm an economist. I like to do big data analysis. I've analyzed data series for Covid-19 of more than 8 months now, from March until the data is up until 10th of November. And this is recorded the 11th of November. And this is a best fit data analysis that basically proves that D-Zink-C is enough to kill this pandemic. But before I can show you the data, I need you to step into my shoes and see this virus from my perspective, and that perspective is developed over 8 months of analysis. And this has 6 points that I need you to share with me in the perspective. If you start with the first one, very hard to believe, but this is a new cold virus and it's very mild. And second point, 80% are resistant, and this number can be increased. This is very complicated, because everyone has said, oh, there's no resistance. Everyone has to get it, 70%, and then somehow we're going to magically be herd immune. That doesn't work that way. And now we have a new vaccine that says 90%. Well, we're already 80% resistant. All right, 3, D, zinc, and C reduce death risk towards 0. And unfortunately, our protective measures, they do not work. Masks, distance, lockdown. Unfortunately, lockdown actually killed. And the problem is with this approach is that we're trying to run away from the virus instead of facing it with strength. When an enemy is approaching you, traditionally, you didn't look for places to hide. You look for ways to make your defenses strong, so you can face this enemy. And the way to do it is D-Zink-C, not this. You can't run. So, 5th, please forget herd immunity. This is nonsense. Herd immunity is some kind of concept based on vaccination. We are not herd immune to cold viruses. We are not herd immune to flu viruses. We don't. We familiarize us with a new virus. That's when death goes to 0. It's not because we get some herd immunity or 70–80% of antibodies. When they test antibodies, they always find them in the teens. Why? It's because of this. This pandemic is well past half point. Well past half point. And it can be ended with this. Now, with these 6 perspectives, you can understand the data. So now let's go into the data. But before that, when is a pandemic over? The pandemic is over when death goes to 0. I don't care about cases. You don't care about cases. No one cares about cases. This is going to go through the population. If it's 50,000 cases here or 100 there, doesn't matter. It's death. When death is 0, pandemic is over. No one cares anymore. That's where we have to go. And we already achieved it. We can achieve it again. Let's go with data. The ones that spiked got a lot of virus in the beginning. They had no chance. Nothing they could do. Sweden kept open, had longer and more deaths than the others, just burned it through better. In the summertime when D-vitamin was good, and the result, Sweden has no deaths now, but what the other ones are taking off. Sweden just burned it through better. Probably the right decision. But you see something here. No one died in August. Why can't you mimic this the rest of the year? What happened here that killed all the death? It's called D-vitamin. It's the summer. It's protection. That is now going away, and death comes back. Can be avoided. Here, please explain this. This is South America versus Europe. You see, maybe they are acting in completely different ways. Why? Because it's D-vitamin and sun. Got to Europe in the beginning, no D-vitamin, died a lot. Then sun and D-vitamin took down death. South America got it after summer, had full D-vitamin levels. Hardly anyone died. But then they depleted, and the death took off. And it just continued and continued. Now, when they go into summer, it's going down again. But Europe is going to winter, so it's going up again. My folks, this is D-vitamin. All of it is D-vitamin. You can't explain this graph with anything else. It's impossible. Supreme lockdown before any death. Supermarkets, like these protections don't work. We went to the supermarket and we took home the virus. They don't work. Here, roughly, the dry season ends. It takes about 1 or 2 months for D-vitamin to get depleted, especially when you lock down. And suddenly, when they were depleted, you get this effect. Lower tolerance, more virus, and everything exploded. New cases exploded, test percent exploded, everything exploded, and death. Until it had found that portion of new people without resistance, and then eaten them up, and then it started to go down. This is lockdown death. This is excess death caused by a lockdown. This doesn't look so good. So instead, let's look at the 3 states that is the biggest ones in the rest of the United States. That's Texas, that's California, and that's Florida, and they show the same phenomenon. Look here. They lock down, and they deplete in D vitamin, and suddenly, explosion. California explode less because it's sunnier and they have better demographics, that's my explanation, but they also double the death fairly quickly. This is D vitamin deficiency, this is lockdown death. Lockdown kills. It deprives people of D vitamin, and we can now see it mathematically. This is lockdown death. How do you save yourself, and how do we end this pandemic? So now we're coming into the final recommendations. How do you do as an individual to strengthen up your immune system? How do you fuel your immune system to the maximum so that you face this pandemic with strength instead of running away, which you can't? All right, this is the recommendation, right? 4,000 to 6,000 units, zinc 50 to 100, and vitamin C 1 gram. If you do this, you are strong. If everybody did this, pandemic would die. That's the key message of this presentation.